Good evening. This is the 18 WJTS News. I'm Charlotte Olson. United States Attorney Josh J. Minkler announced that Heath B. Clark, 44, of Pleasant View, Tennessee, was sentenced to 100 months over 8 years in prison by the U.S. District Judge following his guilty plea to the bank robberies of the Wood Forest National Bank located in Evansville. Along with banks in Missouri and also in Georgia, the case was a result of an investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation Violent Crimes Task Force, the United States Marshals Service, and also the Evansville, Indiana Police Department. On March 19, 2015, Clark entered the Wood Forest National Bank located in the east side of Evansville Walmart, and Clark handed a note to the bank manager to not hit the alarm. The manager stated that Clark did not show or say that he had a gun, but he held his hand in his pocket, insinuating that he did have one on him. Clark then told the manager to give him all of the money. While waiting for the manager to put money into a bag, Clark unknowingly dropped a Tennessee driver's license and a green dot gold Visa debit card on the bank's floor. The ID was for Heath Brent Clark, and the picture of the ID card matched the appearance of Clark from the bank. The manager gave Clark money from his drawer, and Clark left the bank with his ID card on the floor of the bank. Clark robbed approximately $830 from Wood Forest Bank. All three banks that Clark robbed were insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. According to Assistant United States Attorney Kyle M. Sawa, who prosecuted the case for the government, Clark must make full reinstitution to the banks and also serve 3 years of supervised release following his release from prison. The towns of Lagodi and Shoals have come together to partner for a shared youth council with their first official meeting in the books. Lagodi Mayor Noel Harty is optimistic with the new group and plans on their success to be showcased within the community through collaborative projects. Mayor Harty highlighted the importance of real-life lessons that the Youth Council will learn when planning such projects.
But the first step is going to be not just the ideas, as we all know. For those of us that have been out of school and understand how things work, it's going to be how are we going to fund it. So I'm going to have like Greg Jones with the Southern Indiana Development Commission meet with them and kind of explain it's not going to be just coming up with a project, but how are we going to be able to fund it too.
The Shared Youth Council of 19 members and counting has brought together high school students from both Shoals and Lagodi schools to focus on the issues of the youth within the community. They also are planning events and youth activities. Mayor Harty then discussed the motivation behind the driving force of thought of organizing such a council.
The quality of life seems to be the main objective for all communities. So I think that bringing our youth into it, the people that are going to be living here for the next 50 years plus, that is going to be the asset in itself. What do they see? What will make them, when they get out of college, it motivates them to move back to Lagodi, Indiana, or Shoals, Indiana, or Martin County as a whole?
The newly formed council will meet once a month and will be overseen by local community leaders. The Youth Council has already received its first donation and plans to name its officers in the next meeting. The American Lung Association's State of Tobacco Control report has found that in 2016, Indiana failed to do enough to implement proven effective policies that would save lives. The 15th annual report grades states and the federal government on policies to prevent and reduce tobacco use. The report shows that most states and the federal government earned very poor grades. Indiana has not yet increased the age of sale for tobacco products to 21 years old and has one of the lowest tax rates in the country. Monique French, Director of Tobacco Control and Advocacy of the American Lung Association in Indiana, stated that tobacco use is the leading cause of death and disease in our nation. 20% of Indiana residents currently smoke, and she then called for Indiana policy makers to implement the policies and programs called for in the state of tobacco control. These initiatives would help save lives and also protect kids from a lifetime of addiction. Close to 95% of adult smokers try their first cigarette before the age of 21, and French says that by increasing the minimum age of sale for tobacco products to 21 years of age, it would significantly reduce youth tobacco usage and save thousands of lives nationwide. Beginning with the fall 2017 semester, engineering students at Vincennes University who are pursuing their associate's degree can take part in a direct admissions program to obtain their bachelor's degree at Purdue University. Initially, the direct admissions agreement will apply to first-time, full-time students enrolling at VU. The students must meet specified criteria to transfer to Purdue, and the plan works towards maximizing education and degree completion opportunities for students. VU students will be expected to complete their associate's degree work to be eligible for direct admission. Direct admission prerequisites such as grade point average and required courses differ among the 15 engineering programs in which students at Purdue can major. The agreement follows the history of student success in pursuing their education from VU and then continuing on to Purdue. At 7:34 p.m. on January 23rd, the Pike County Central Dispatch received a 911 call from 848 South State Road 61 in Winslow, Indiana. This call reported shots being fired and one person being injured. The initial caller also reported the shooter was inside the residence. Units from the Pike County Sheriff's Office, Petersburg Police Department, and the state police units from Evansville and Jasper districts responded at the scene. Pike County EMS and Patoka Fire were staged off scene. After talking with all parties at the scene, an investigation showed a family argument had begun. 24-year-old William B. Key was asked to leave the residence by his father, Brian Key. William was angry and left with a 12-gauge shotgun. William returned a short time later. As William exited his vehicle, he had the 12-gauge shotgun in his hands and pointed it in the direction of Brian and also 19-year-old Kenton Key. Kenton Key also had a 12-gauge shotgun and fired his at William. William was struck and received minor injuries as the car took most of the damage. William Key was treated and transported to Jasper Memorial Hospital, where he was treated and released to the custody of the Pike County Sheriff's Office. William Key was arrested for pointing a firearm, which is a level 6 felony, and Kenton Key was arrested for aggravated battery, a level 3 felony, criminal recklessness, and also a level 6 felony. More charges could be filed or some changed as the investigation continues. More than 3,000 babies born in Indiana in February will be decked out in red hats courtesy of the American Heart Association's Little Hats, Big Hearts program. American Heart Association staff will deliver the tiny hats to more than 40 hospitals across the state beginning this week. The hats were lovingly hand-knitted by volunteers, and February is American Heart Month, and the week of February 7th through the 14th is the Heart Defect Awareness Week. Heart disease remains the #1 cause of death in the United States and also in Indiana, and congenital heart defects are the leading birth defect in newborns. The Little Hats, Big Hearts program raises awareness for both. Will Read and Sing for Food hosted their 102nd show this past week, and here is Zach Ruber with the story.
Will Read and Sing for Food held their 102nd show this past Thursday, January 19th. This benefit show was to raise money for the Psi Iota Xi Zoom Mu chapter sorority's language and literacy camp, a free camp for children to learn about art and literature. The sorority supports philanthropic projects in areas of music, art, and literature. Performers and readers included Scott Salmon, Debbie Scheider, Mark Stizek, Stephen Wagler, and Sarah Layden. The performers and readers sang and read original pieces, as well as performing covers of Dolly Parton, The Eagles, Jimmy Buffett, and The Weeknd. Founder Scott Salmon spoke about Will Read and Sing for Food and how it all started for him.
I've written all my life. I like doing readings. I have a humor column for the Herald, and it's always fun when I would go to a Rotary Club or whatever club, and I would get to read some of these stories, and I'd hear laughter. So the personal part of that for me was I would like a venue, an avenue to be able to do that and hear some laughs, but I knew that only my mom and dad would come, and my dad would only come if my mom made me. So I knew that we probably had to have music. People like Mark Stezek and Debbie Sheeter back there, and all kinds of others, and I think the music would obviously draw better than the readings would. And then I knew it had to be for a charity. And so you got basically 3 things going on that might attract people.
He says he loves running Will Read and Sing for Food because he gets to meet talented people in the area and able to raise money for good causes. He told WJTS that running Will Read and Sing for Food is hard work, but hearing the laughter and cheers from the crowd and the money raised for causes make it all worth it for him. He explains his plans for the future for We'll Read and Sing for Food here.
I hope in 2017 we reach $100,000, so we're at 80 something right now, 80,000. And so my goal has been for about 3 years, let's get $100,000. And who knows after that? I might take a break, I might keep going, but definitely right now it's just a strive in 2017 to reach the $100,000 mark. And we hope to, I mean, we strive to make every show different, and we're still doing it after so many, it's easy to do, just different people, different songs, different stories, and it's working out, and it's still strong. It's probably stronger, I mean, more people know us now, and so it shows, it still has legs, so we'll see.
Also at the 102nd We'll Read and Sing for Food show was established author Sarah Layden. She read her original stories and promoted her book, Trip Through Your Wires. She talks about what she loves about writing here.
Sometimes students will come in and they'll have this attitude or this idea that, they're not good writers or they don't like writing. And it's probably because maybe they haven't been encouraged to write things that they want to write, or they haven't, discovered a style or read something that inspired them. And I like trying to be that person that helps them find, okay, maybe what if you tried it this way, or what if you read this author, and then they find, oh, okay, once I'm interested and engaged, then this really is something that I want to do. And so that's kind of nice too. And I particularly love teaching college because for me that was such a transformative time, and I like being a part of transformative times for the students.
She says her influences include Alice Munro, Eleanor Lippman, Junot Diaz, and many others. Sarah writes fiction and short stories. She has a short story collection that she is hoping will be picked up by a publisher, as well as a young adult novel about a high school volleyball team. Along with being a writer, she is also an English lecturer at IUPUI. She talked to 18 WJTS about her love for teaching here.
I think it's probably, I like the opportunity to be able to process life, essentially. I've always been somebody who sort of needs some time to reflect and decompress, and for me, the way that I make sense of the world and, human experiences is through writing.
Sarah's book, Trip Through Your Wires, is a murder mystery that can be found in paperback, hardcover, ebook, and now audiobook, which is narrated by Sarah herself through Engine Books, Amazon, iTunes, Audible.com, and many other places. For more information on Sarah Layden, visit her website at www.sarahlayden.com. We'll Read and Sing for Food's next show will be held on Thursday, February 2nd at Clubhouse, benefiting the Rotary Club's polio eradication efforts. For more information, visit their Facebook page at www.facebook.com/We'llReadForFood.
Thank you, Zach. Make sure you keep it right here, except next we'll take a look at your weather summary.